Well, tens of thousands of your neighbors in Georgia and Carolina are considered disabled. And who's taking care of our friends and neighbors? Well, in Aiken County, it's Heather Waddell, the Executive Director of TriDevelopment Center. How are you today?
I'm good, Neil. Thank you so much for asking, and thank you for having me today.
It is going to be a wonderful learning experience for me, and I hope will enlighten our viewers to be of assistance to you. Why don't we start with what is actually considered a disability?
Sure. Well, the population that we provide supports and services to, and we have the honor of supporting in South Carolina, are individuals that have intellectual developmental disabilities. They're on the autism spectrum, or they have a head and spinal cord injury or traumatic brain injury. We also support those individuals that are under the related disability category. For example, like your Down syndrome or someone that has a seizure disorder or epilepsy. So as far as disabilities, there's many, many disabilities, but that is the population that we provide supports and services to in our community.
And share with us a little bit about the TriDevelopment
Sure.
Center. When was it founded, and what type of services do you provide?
Yeah, and I would encourage anybody that would want to know more information about TriDevelopment Center. We have a pretty robust timeline on our website, aikentdc.org. So I would encourage someone to kind of look through that. But we started back in the 50s, and so we evolved over the decades. And I would use the date of 1964. That's when we were considered a child development center. This was before you had integration with children with developmental disabilities into the main school system. So children with disabilities were often segregated. And so TriDevelopment Center started as Child Development Center to provide services to those children that needed some supports. And it was through a robust and a solid group of parents in Aiken County that started that movement because they wanted their children to be a part of the mainstream process and to be a part of the school system and to get to know other individuals that possibly did not have the same disability.
And, that just makes me remember that was an era of civil rights back then.
Yes. And prior to the Olmstead Act, which happened in 1993 under former President Clinton, when they really were pushing for individuals to come out of your institutional type settings. Those were really big. South Carolina still has 5 of those to this day. They are very more depopped now, where you don't have thousands of individuals, just several hundred. But yeah, that all came about back in the early 90s because of the Olmstead Act, because people were basically back in the day when you mentioned, the civil rights, parents were told if they had a child that had a disability that you needed to take them to the institution. That was the best setting for them.
Now, how do you differ completely from an institutionalized setting?
Sure. We are more community-based. So we have group homes. We have 6 different type of residential services in Aiken County, and so we try to meet that person at the level of need. So we have more of like almost a skilled nursing facility in the local community, all the way up to very independent living, where we might just go and provide maybe 1 or 2 or 3 hours of service and support each week. So we're very much more community-based. So we want to help somebody be as independent in their local community as possible.
Give us a sense of maybe the ratio of people that you have caring for those who are disabled with the number of disabled people you take care of.
Sure. So we have roughly 200 individuals in our residential program, and we have about 350 people that we support in our day program settings across Aiken County. So our ratio, it depends on what service, but it can be anywhere from 1 to 8, 1 to 10, to 1 to 4. So it's going to vary based on that type of service. We contract with the South Carolina Department of Disabilities and Special Needs to provide those supports in our local community.
We're continuing to speak with the Executive Director of the TriDevelopment Center online at aikentdc.org. So, of course, you have to find that one special person that takes care of the 4 or the 8 or the 10. If you hadn't noticed, we've been through a pandemic the last few years. Finding people has been difficult. How has that been in your world?
Extremely difficult and very challenging. And we are really trying to let our legislative know in South Carolina what we are facing and what we are battling, because the challenge is real. The struggle is real. Currently, I can let you know that we have 67 vacancies in our residential program.
Wow.
That's in our residential program alone. And nursing, we have a critical shortage of nursing. So we have tried that's why I'm here today, trying to do very creative and innovative marketing strategies to help people understand who we are, because we want compassionate people, not just somebody that wants a job. It's someone
paycheck,
that really
right.
wants to make a difference. And we have been radio, commercials, our social media we've tried to be more robust with. So we're really trying many, many creative ways to try to recruit employees.
Yes. And what type of training would someone need to apply for a position? And over the course of the next several months, we'll chat about specific positions that are open. But in general, what type of training would someone need?
Well, training, we welcome CNAs. So certified nursing assistants, personal care assistants, we welcome them. You don't necessarily have to have your certification. We will train you. We will give you the skills you need to be successful on the job. We do ask that someone have a valid driver's license, a high school diploma, or a GED, and 3 solid work references. So that's kind of what's needed to be a part of our team. But the training we will provide, we provide a solid and kind of overwhelming, just an overview of training for our staff members, and it's about 2 weeks long. So we do really try to give those skills to any employee that might be wanting to come aboard with us.
Outstanding. And again, Heather Waddell is the executive director of the Tri-Development Center. And before we scoot from this podcast, for someone watching who's maybe looking for a position or knows of someone that has a caring heart, talk to them from the perspective of one of the disabled people, one of your clients, if you will. What's the joy? What joy do they receive as, being under the care of one of your employees?
Okay. I want you to think about something. I want you to think about when you're looking for a job and you are wanting someone to be able to, say you're ever hurt, you're injured, you're needing extra care. And I want you to think about what you would expect for that person. What would you want out of that person? You would want love, caring, compassion, someone that really wants to make a difference in your life, that has that passion, that has that patience to give you the time that you need to be able to increase your skills, to learn a new skill, to get out of bed, maybe to help take medication, to help you learn how to cook, or to clean your home, and to think about that person you would want to spend time with. Not just that they're paid to be there, but they really want to be there. We get a lot of individuals that come from the manufacturing world, and the pay is wonderful. Amazon, your Autoneums, all these different companies. But one thing at the end of the day that we hear more than anything is, I want a job that I know when I leave here at the end of the day, I have made a difference. I've made a difference in someone's life, and I can lay my head on my pillow that night knowing that, and knowing that I've impacted somebody's life. And I think that's what it comes down to, and someone that we have the honor and the privilege of supporting would want that in their caregiver, in their support staff.
And you can learn about the various positions that are available at the Tri-Development Center. There's a really interesting section that is related to skills and job positions open at AikenTDC.org. Well, for your first podcast, you sure are a pro, I have to tell you. What do you think of the facility and doing the podcast for the first time?
I am very impressed with the facility. I think it is top-notch and extremely professional, kind of a cool genre. Something that we've never done. So exciting for us.
Oh, good.
Especially as a nonprofit, we kind of tend to run in the same circles and utilize the same media and the marketing strategies. So for TriDevelopment, I think this is a really cool thing today.
Nice. And thanks to our friends at getupproductions.com, and there's some other social media opportunities for you to reach them and learn about doing some podcasts.